Today I'm going to tell you about a time that is probably one of the most defining moments I've had in my adult life. Not just defining, terrorizing. And if you're trying to heal from infidelity or addiction, you too probably have had moments like this. They mark you, they scare the hell out of you. Hopefully you are moving past that moment for those of you that are very new into this type of healing. For me, it was a long time ago, but I'll never forget what I felt. I think there's several lessons in there that I'm going to share with you today. But I want to tell you, it takes a lot to share this moment. It's a very meaningful moment, but it was a very, shall we say, traumatizing moment. And I hope that as I kind of share out of my moment, it'll help you in the moments that you have either had or unfortunately may still be having right now or may have to deal with in the future. The moment was just a few weeks after disclosure. All hell had broken loose. We didn't live in a gated community. We lived in a very accessible house in Long Beach, California. It was not the greatest house, but it was great for our little family. And everything had come out. The dust was still settling. The dust had not settled. It had still been kicked up. We were in the middle of a bit of a tornado, and I had just put Samantha and the kids on a plane to move them to Austin. I was left to get all of our stuff out of the house. The movers were coming, get everything packed up and leave. And we were in this awful, scary moment that I thought, what the hell am I doing? I have no idea what's happening right now. I don't remember much, to be honest, but I do remember the movers had left. There's a giant dumpster in front of the house. I had thrown everything that could be thrown away that we didn't need in there. And I remember standing in the middle of this house. Everything had been moved out, and I experienced this moment of absolute terror. I had no signs that we were going to stay married. My kids were 5, 4, and roughly 6 months old at the time. And I remember sitting in this moment in the house, and I remember saying, no, I'm gonna try and stay present. I'm gonna have this moment. I'm gonna soak it up. I'm gonna try and really be here. And I sat in this house, and I can tell you, I saw every one of my kids running around. I saw birthdays. I saw new presents. I saw awful moments of them hurting themselves. I saw wonderful moments of entertaining people and having my staff over at the time. I was in a very public position, and so we constantly had people over the house and parties and business meetings, staff meetings, you name it. And I saw so many of those memories. I saw positive and wonderful memories with Samantha. I saw difficult and challenging. I saw disclosure. I saw, at that time, it had to have been somewhere in the neighborhood of 6 or 7 years of memories in this little house of my kids and our relationship and just life. And in a moment that I was present for, because I don't know that I was very present before this moment, and afterwards I can't remember very much at all. I had dissociated so much. And in this moment I remember being more terrified than I can remember ever comparing to in my adult life. I remember sitting in this moment and just feeling terror. What was my life going to be about? Was I even going to be married? How were my kids going to survive this moment? Are they going to be traumatized forever? Have I lost any meaningful opportunity to affect the world for change and for good? Am I going to die? Are people going to follow me out of California to Austin who hate me, who were driving by my house screaming and yelling obscenities and waiting outside my house to talk to me because they were so let down by my choices, by my infidelity? They had heard so many rumors that weren't true and so many false allegations that weren't true. My affair was bad enough. All the rumors and all the collateral damage was just awful. And I remember sitting in this moment wondering, man, am I going to be homeless? We had enough money to live for about 2 months, but I had lost my career. I had lost everything except maybe Samantha and the kids. But at that moment, it was all up for grabs. Almost all of my friends had left except one. And I remember walking through the house, and I can see myself doing it now. It was like I was floating. I was so just overwhelmed with grief and trauma and fear that it's horrifying to think about where I was at. I remember visibly shaking. I was just about to get in the truck and drive to Oklahoma to meet this mentor that I had found. Then I was going to Austin. I just wept. But then I wept, and then I felt this shiver come over me of, I don't know what's going to happen. I'm so unsure about the future of my life. Now, you may have experienced a moment like that, maybe even worse. You may be experiencing moments like that right now, or that type of moment may be coming to you. And I want to give you a few lessons that I hope will get you through the moments that you've had, that will maybe even help you make sense out of the past moments that you may have had to experience. That moment was over a decade ago. I'm doing fantastic. My kids are doing fantastic. I never thought my kids would do as well as they are doing right now. That's the God's honest truth. I am amazed. I come from faith, so I'm amazed at the grace of God. For those of you that don't come from faith, I'm amazed at how this has worked out. I'm amazed at fate. I'm amazed that I can look at all three of my kids and see that they are unharmed, that they are doing incredibly well, that they are strong, productive, confident, 2 boys and a girl, overachievers, all 3 of them, and they are doing wonderful. I never thought that I would experience the relationship that I have with them right now in light of all that I experienced in that horrifying moment. I'm actually doing quite well. I didn't think I would ever have a meaningful job again. I didn't think I would ever bring about change or healing or be used as some mess of a vessel of healing to help other people heal. I thought I had lost any voice of meaning forever. I can't accentuate that enough that I made it through that moment, and I've lived to tell about it. It still shakes me. We've had to do a lot of work with my therapist. We've had to work around the complexity of that moment. But I can tell you, it absolutely has been overcome, conquered, and used for good. Next is I needed that moment. I needed to feel the consequences of my actions. I needed to feel the weight of what my choices had done. I needed to feel the weight of the fact that I had put myself in that room. Sure, there was a lot of things that were done wrong. Sure, I had been left for dead, abandoned. Sure, I was treated awfully by my senior leadership. Sure, there were so many allegations. I had given my life to the organization and I was thrown out of a moving car at 1,000 miles an hour and left for dead. Absolutely. But you know what? I put myself in that room and I needed to feel the weight of that room. I needed to feel that I had created that awful room. I had put myself there. I had brought about that moment. It was nobody's fault but my own, and I had to own it. I had to feel it. I had to accept it. I could blame nobody else but myself. Next, that was not going to be the rest of my life. It felt like it. It felt like that was how I was going to live forever. Empty room, empty life, empty heart, scared, shallow, fearful. I thought I was maybe going to end up homeless and that my kids and my wife would just feel sorry for me and that I would float around. I had no idea. That's the honest to God truth. I was terrified. But you know what? I needed that. I needed to feel that. And that was not going to be the rest of my life. And it won't be the rest of your life. It also wasn't the best of my life. The best was not over. Now, let's take a deep breath. You may sit here and go, oh, Sam, okay, you just lost me there, right? Like, the best of my life is over. I don't see it getting any better ever again. My life is in shambles. No, Listen, I just want to appeal to you. As a friend, as a brother, I just want to appeal and tell you it's not the best of your life. Believe it or not, as sure as I stand here, I had no idea that I would have literally thousands of moments that have made my life so meaningful and joyful. And redemptive. I didn't see any of it coming. You probably don't see any of it coming. I promise you. How you respond to that empty house, how you respond to that moment can bring about more joy in life than you can even see right now. So let me just tell you, from someone who screwed everything up, everything, there's more joy coming than you can believe. Next, you won't forget that moment. I have not forgotten that moment. I will never forget that moment. I need that moment. If I could put that little moment on a necklace and wear it, if I could put it into a tattoo, I would wear it. I would put it on. I would get it done. I'm not supposed to forget that moment. It keeps me going forward in life. It's just one of the mechanisms that keeps me grateful, honest, grounded, compassionate, understanding, aware. I can go on and on. I needed that moment. Ultimately, you'll be thankful for that moment. That type of moment for me has kept me humble, aware, available. It helps me understand I'm just a few choices away from losing everything. And you see, that moment, as I kind of end this conversation today, was a necessary ending. It was a necessary ending to that chapter of my life. It was the ending of the type of person I was, the narcissistic, self-absorbed, controlling leader that I was, the untouchable, unavailable, thought I could do it all, didn't need anybody. You see, it was a necessary ending to that chapter of life, and maybe you need a necessary ending. I'm not talking about your marriage. Maybe I'm talking about the way that you have been living, or the lack of awareness, or the addiction, or the acting out, or the infidelities. But maybe it's time for a necessary ending to that chapter so that you can birth a new chapter with new healing, new breakthrough, new joy, new life, new meaning, new awareness, new restoration, personal, maybe even relational. I hope this moment has helped you today. It's been hard as hell, but I wanted to give you this moment, and I hope that it helps you on your own journey to healing.